I've started hanging out with rich people, and here are the 5 habits I've learned from hanging out with them. The first thing I noticed from hanging out with rich people is all of these people are hella fit. We're talking they spend at least 30 minutes in the gym every single day or doing some sort of active movement. They basically know that if they spend 30 minutes a day, that's basically free endorphins, and those chemicals can serve as brain fuel so that they can go out there and make those money moves. They also know that obviously working out is going to make you look your best, and so they just think whenever you go out and see someone, meet someone for the first time, you can tell that they take care of themselves. Number 2, they're obsessed with talking about money. I swear to you that I think that people have made it seem like talking about money is completely taboo, but I would say and argue that it's to keep the poor people poor. Rich people are constantly talking about money because they know that if other people know, hey, I'm looking to invest in XYZ location, the people that are in their network that has been thoughtfully curated will very likely know of someone else that's selling a property in that same location. One time actually I was working with a brand, and I was talking to my another content creator friend about how much I was getting paid for that brand deal because they reached out to her and they wanted to pay her significantly more than they were paying me already. I was able to go back to the brand and be like, hey broski, I am not accepting this deal. Even though I signed the contract, I need to be paid at least this amount. And that is on money transparency, baby. The third thing I realized from hanging out with rich people is that they plan their days to a T. We're talking like if they're trying to make plans with you, they're gonna tell you that they have ability for dinner from 5 to 6:30, and at 6:30, they're gonna say, mwah, mwah, goodbye, I gotta go do something else, work on another project, meet another friend. And this isn't like them being like, oh my gosh, no, I'm too busy, blah, blah, blah. It's actually very rare for someone that's actually busy to say that they're busy, because busy people will prioritize you if they see value in you. Which that goes into the fourth thing that I've learned about hanging out with rich people is that they spend at least 30 minutes a day doing some sort of absorbing information to make themselves better people. This could be a book, a podcast, a YouTube video. They are obsessed with becoming better people, aka growth mindset, and they are humble enough to know that in order for them to grow, they have to absorb information from other sources, people that are experts in their fields. The next thing I noticed is that they're extremely private. This isn't to say that they're literally not going to tell you anything about their lives. They're going to be very mindful of trying to understand who the freak you are, kind of what do you offer to the table, because everyone that's in their lives needs to provide them value. But they also want to make sure you're not a motherfucking liability. Trust is not just for you. You have to earn it and showcase that you are capable of holding space for them and them for you. And you might be thinking, Genesis, where the frick did you find all these rich people? To be honest with you, a lot of it has to do with going to conferences that inspire you, aka I went to FinCon last year, met a bunch of people that are freaking incredible and doing their own dang thing, businesses, whatever. Hanging out with rich people has completely changed my life and has made me or allowed me to think outside the box. Like if you are within yourself and you're like, just okay, I want to accomplish XYZ thing, it's oftentimes that you're not dreaming big enough. Me hanging out with these people has made me realize, girl, like there is more in this world that you can achieve. And truthfully, the only way for you to see it is if you hang out with rich people. So those are the 5 habits. Go hang out at, I don't know, fancy hotel lobbies, or do whatever you need to do in order to surround yourself with people you want to be like. And make sure to follow, because I'm trying to make you rich, not just in your wallet, but also in your mind.
Okay,
Right? Okay.
so rich versus poor habits. Yeah, you're going to get me canceled, but I created a TikTok video about things that my broke friends talk about at dinner versus my wealthy friends, because I have a lot of broke friends and I have a lot of wealthy friends. I was broke like 2 years ago. So it seems in the patterns that I observe that my wealthier friends talk more about like goal setting. They talk more about what they're working on, their fitness. Like they share their, oh, here's my CPA or here's my financial advisor or whatever. And they seem, probably because they have money, to be able to, their mind is freed up so they can talk about more like existential topics. My broke friends tend to talk more about sports, celebrity gossip, surface level shit. I created this video because I wanted to show that maybe a part of gaining wealth is the mentality of the things that you're talking to your friends about and the things that you're consistently reflecting on. If the only things that you're talking about and consuming is just sports and celebrity and pop culture, like you're a vessel, like you.
I love that. We called people mouth breathers.
Mouth
breather. Like that's about, and there's nothing wrong.
But vessel's a good one. I'm going to incorporate that.
But there's nothing wrong with sports. This whole place is like sports decked out.
A couple of years ago, this really successful man told me this tip on decision making, and it completely transformed my life. I feel like it's literally the reason I'm successful today. He was super rich, and he was like, I always look around at all my rich friends and I try to identify the one thing that makes them successful. Like, they're not even really that smart. It just all comes down to one thing, and that thing is that they make decisions fast. They do not overthink for two reasons. First reason, when intuition goes away once you start overthinking. Intuition is like the reason that you're going to make right decisions for yourself. It may not be the perfect decision, but it's going to be the right decision for you. Second thing he said is speed is the number one factor. You are not making decisions quickly. You're never going to be in that upper echelon of success. If I take one day to make a decision, you take 1 week, I could have already found out that that decision was wrong, changed my decision, and moved forward. You stack all of those decisions up over time. You always take a week. I always take a day. It doesn't matter if you're right more often. Speed just beats you every time. I'm not joking. This has transformed my life in every area.
Here's how you're gonna seem richer than you actually are. Ignore my neck, I just scrubbed it in the shower. I just started working at this very nice, expensive country club. There's a lot of new money and there's a lot of old money. And the difference between old money and new money is really obvious. These are just my observations of what people with money tend to do differently. First thing I noticed that they do is they always introduce themselves first and last name. They would never say, hey, I'm Bella. Like, it's always Bella Dane, nice to meet you. They always say first and last name, and they say it with a lot of pride and a nice firm handshake. When you give the first impression that I'm important and my name is important, kind of set the tone for how people view you. The second thing I notice is that they speak slowly, confidently, and calmly. This isn't true all the time, but I definitely notice that their speech is much slower and it makes them seem really sure of themselves. They're not rushing to get through a conversation or need to say something. Most of them seem to be really good listeners. In a conversation, they're not thinking about what they're gonna say next. They're genuinely just presently listening to what the other person is saying. Okay, this next tip is a fashion tip, but they do not wear big ass brand logos like plastered across their purses and their belts. Money talks, but wealth is silent. When I see a woman walk in really high quality, really well-made clothing, very stylish pieces, and there's no logo or brand on anything, I know she's richer than everyone else. I've kind of always said this, and I was fortunate enough to be educated on it from a really young age, but they all have quite refined palates. They know what quail eggs are, they know what's in a Cosmopolitan, and yeah, a lot of them still do order chips and queso and nachos and things like that. It's not like a pretentious sort of thing, just knowledgeable about food and alcohol. Last thing I noticed is that when they walk into a room, they're never on their phone. They're looking down or fumbling with their bag, and I used to think this was just like a coincidence, but after a while of working there, I was like, they're definitely making sure that they're like prepared and put together before they enter the room. And they always enter with their chin up, they look around the room, scan the room, they smile, and they're always extremely interactive with the bartenders and the staff. Always the really young, like a Vineyard Vines boys that have been in there 4 times and learned what a gimlet is. Ones that are always assholes, but like the ones that are really, really wealthy are always nice. Like, these are things that, yeah, they're good to convince people you have more money than you do, but they're also just tips on how to come off as more classy and refined.
It seems in the patterns that I observe that my wealthier friends talk more about like goal setting. They talk more about what they're working on, their fitness. Like, they share their, oh, here's my CPA or here's my financial advisor or whatever. Their mind is freed up so they can talk about more like existential topics, spiritual topics, philosophical topics. My broke friends tend to talk more about sports, celebrity gossip, surface level shit. Maybe a part of gaining wealth is the mentality of the things that you're talking to your friends about and the things that you're consistently reflecting on. And if the only things that you're talking about and consuming is just sports and celebrity and pop culture, you're a vessel.
I married into a wealthy family but grew up very poor. These are a few elevated everyday habits that I've learned along the way. Always having your nails neutral and simple. Right now I just have a little French tip and it's my natural nail length. Always having the home stocked for guests. So what that looks like for me is I always have items available for a simple little charcuterie board, and I always have plenty of beverages available for guests. Sending thank you notes and text immediately. Gratitude is part of grace. being overly gracious. And you know, I am incredibly tired right now, so sometimes I'm slightly short, and that happened today. I was running late from a charity event to another appointment, and I was a little bit short with somebody that I knew. I got in the car and I realized it. I immediately texted her, apologized, and invited her and her husband to dinner later on this month, and they accepted, and she didn't even honestly notice. But it's something to be self-aware, and it's something that you can work on day to day, and I just feel like it's so classy to have that awareness.
Have you ever noticed how wealthy people behave? They all have the same behavior, all of them. If you're around really, really wealthy people, especially generational wealth, they all do the same thing. They prioritize their health. They don't eat junk food. They eat very good food. If they think that health is very, very important. Every behavior they have, zero requires money. Great posture. You ever notice that? They have great posture. They sit right. They focus. Ever notice a real wealthy person goes into a room, always is super confident. Never loud, super confident. Ever notice how generous they are? Not generous with money. If a wealthy person walks into a room and sees someone on the corner and they don't know anyone, they're a little out of place, they hold them by the hand and show them around. That's wealthy behavior. They don't like things that are loud. Real wealth, not the ones that are on social media I'm talking about, wears nothing that says Prada, Chanel, or anything like that. They just know how to dress. They understand fabric. These are the behaviors of ultra wealthy people. They invest in their children. Wealthy people go out and say, well, guess what? I don't need my child to be just becoming 21 and nothing. No, piano lessons, ballet lessons, language lessons, they all teach them that. They invest in their children. They think about money very differently. Why am I even discussing any of this, you would say? Well, this is part 5 of a 5-part series where I have numbered 10 behaviors, which some of them I talked about today. This collection, the white collection, is intended to have that mentality. Look at it. From far, it looks very quiet. Yet from near, it's like fabric, right? When you look at fabric from near, you can tell its quality. You see this? You can tell. From far, it looks like a white box. From near is when the reality begins to hit. The texture, the smoothness, the embossing. These are difficult things to do very well, right? You look at the glass. Quiet. There's no branding. Where's the branding here? There is no branding here. We're going to talk about number 9 and number 10. But you see this? You see how beautiful that is? That's all sandblast etching. This is not chemical etching. Then when it comes to the fragrance, this is the Moroccan Azahar. Such a beautiful floral home fragrance that you're smelling a very non-generic. The world of candles have become an ultra-generic. Real wealthy thinking is bring home one thing, make it become a significant part of the house where the house is the hero. Make the fragrance ultra complex where you introduce richness into the house, yet at the same time, always the priority is the home. So, what is number 9 and number 10? Number 9, wealthy behavior is investing in their environment. They realize that their environment is very important. They curate between their car, their home, their vacation home, their bedroom, their office. Everything is curated. It's an investment in their environment. So the reason I bring that up again, this is an investment in an environment, be it physical product or be it your sense of smell. I say an investment. Here's why. Because when you come to your house, after a certain type of repetition, you begin to have like a muscle memory. If you want to relax when you get home, you train your mind to do that when you smell this. Number 10 is everything they touch, they want that product that they purchase to deliver on all fronts. Wealthy behavior is they don't buy 30 things. They buy one great one for their home, one great candle, one great kitchen appliance, they literally focus, and once they love that, they put it in their multiple home. All this behavior, by the way, is not exclusive to having money. It's trained to quiet the world and have control over your life. That's all I'm trying to say here, that when we created this beautiful candle packaging, glass, the aromas, I took into account all those behaviors so that I can talk about it, because I've learned it from other people. I wish I was second, third generation uber wealthy. I'm not. But what I am is a very good observer. And I've noticed you can do the same, meaning focus on your health, focus on your mental fitness, focus on your time. Don't waste time. You know, wealthy people, they keep their word. Their word is very important to them. They don't throw garbage on the floor. They keep their house clean. They control their environment. They think of the future as an investment today. All these thinking, you would think, how the hell does that have to do anything with a candle? It does. That is how we made this brand. And that, by the way, is how I have done and built this company. All around beautiful things that enhance the home and make the home the hero. Not one of these products have a branding on it. Not one. Not one. So priority always is you guys, and it costs zero to think this way. I love you guys.
You want to know something that rich people do? They introduce themselves with their full name. I remember seeing a video of a girl on TikTok saying that because she worked at a golf course where a lot of rich people came in, and she said that every single time they would introduce themselves to anyone with their full name. And I've been rewatching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Sutton, who I think is the richest or one of the richest, always says, "Hi, I'm Sutton Strack." All the other girls are like, "Hi, I'm Kyle, I'm Lisa, I'm Garcelle," whatever. I also think that there's just something so secure about saying your full name when you're meeting anyone. So just a little tip if you want to implement it and manifest that rich life.
If you are young and don't know what to do with your life, I am going to give you the best advice you're ever going to get on how to become a millionaire, and fast. Number one, find a trade. My son is literally in middle school and he's already learning our family's trade, lifting houses and construction. He's learning how to mix concrete, how to build block, how to do all the things it takes to be a tradesman. Either become an apprentice or go to trade school. This joke that everyone in the world has to go and get a 4-year degree, it's not real, okay, guys? You're gonna come out of that 4-year degree, and unless you know exactly what you're gonna do, like becoming an engineer or becoming an architect or becoming a nurse, you're probably not going to use that degree. I went to school for criminology. I love criminology, but never in my life have I used my criminology degree. I can tell you, if you learn a trade and you work hard and you're good at it, you're likely to make 6 figures within 2 to 3 years. Statistically, those who become millionaires the fastest out of school are those who become a tradesman or tradeswoman.
My family invented the television, so I grew up very traditional. Here's 5 unusual things that I was not allowed to do while growing up. The first rule was I was not allowed to wear colorful nail polish or have long nails. So I was only allowed to wear neutral nail polish or maybe light pink, and I was not allowed to have chip nails. My father did not let us wear like blue nail polish, black nail polish, any of those crazy colors. Okay, rule number 2, I was not allowed to wear my hair down. If I wore my hair down, it had to be pulled out of my face, but I pretty much always just wore it up. My father always said girls who wear their hair in their face have something to hide. Even to this day, if I wear my hair down in front of him, he's always like. Okay, rule number 3, I was never allowed to stick my tongue out in photos. We never did like silly photos anyways, but if my parents caught me in a picture with my tongue out, I would be in a lot of trouble. For rule number 4, we always had to practice proper etiquette. We had dinner in the dining room every single night, and we had to make sure that our manners were 10 out of 10 as if we were in a really fancy restaurant. So we were not allowed to have our elbows on the table. We had to have our napkin on our lap as soon as we sat down. We had to excuse ourselves if we're coming and going from the table. We had to know which silverware to use for which course. And I know it sounds a little stuffy, but all of these things are really important things that I think children should learn, because now at 22, I see so many adults who don't know basic dining etiquette. We were always going to formal arrangements, so it was very important that we had good manners and good etiquette instilled in us. Okay, and for rule number 5, we were never allowed to wear sweatpants or any sort of like loungewear. My mother was dressed up every single day. I don't think she even owns a pair of sweatpants. My parents just never wore them or bought them for us, and if we were like lounging around the house, we'd either wear like a robe or like a pajama set, I guess. Obviously, as you get older, you start to test rules a little bit, but now that I'm, like I said, 22, I think that I have so much gratitude for my parents for raising us this way, and I'm going to raise my children the exact same way. Well, that's all I have for today, so I'll see you in the next one.
Recently been hanging out with rich people, and here is the one habit I noticed that I'm immediately implementing. Started looking up conferences, courses, experiences, whatever I could get my hands on that could help me break through that wall to reach my ultimate potential. And so far I have 2 suggestions. Number 1, conferences. Whatever hobby you currently have or a hobby that you want to have, you can find a conference within that niche and find the people that are most successful within that arena. Because not only does it help you stay motivated, it also holds you accountable. And number 2, the one that has truly, completely revolutionized my life, it was the Sabatov transformational course. The objective in my mind was to basically show you a mirror of yourself so that you could see what is holding you back from building the life of your dreams. But you have alternatives. You don't have to go to Gainesville, Florida for 3 days. You can, number 1, read the Relationships That Workbook and actually go through the exercises. Or number 2, attend a free webinar that I'm speaking in, where we will give you an idea or a snippet of what this transformational course is. You can then decide after the webinar, am I ready to be rich or do I still have more work to do? These people are absolutely obsessed with self-development. Before this course, I felt like I was hitting walls with not only my social media, my work, my relationships, with literally everything in my life. And all those negative things were popping up in my life, therefore affecting my ability to produce wealth. I am truly so excited to see you there. Comment free. Let me know that you're coming, and make sure to give me a follow, because I'm trying to make you rich, not just in your wallet, but also in your mind.
3 things that separates the upper class from the rest of the world. Those in the higher tier who enjoy a very fruitful and luxurious life are constantly saving money, and the rest of us are not. Why? How? Let me share. 1. How do the uber wealthy save on makeup, shampoo, the everyday things? Well, they are very careful in cultivating all of their products from one store. I kid you not, I've had conversation with friends who are, big executives, and they go out of their way to buy their shampoo from specific department stores in order to build wealth. How does that work? Well, if you're buying your shampoo, your makeup, even your smoked salmon from Harrods, you are eventually going to get a check in reward points, and that equate to dollars. So you just saved money on groceries, you saved money on everyday items, and you saved money on makeup. The rest of us, of course, aren't doing that. And every penny saved is a penny earned. Something else that the uber talented and wealthy do that you should too is they cultivate relationships with the people that directly impact them. So have you noticed when you go to a restaurant and the maitre d' and Mrs. X or Y are like, hey, how are you? It's been so long. Would you like a table? Let me seat you right away. The reason they're getting seated right away, and I've seen this firsthand in New York, where somebody walks in and there's a slew of 50 people waiting, and the person who walks in gets the table. Well, they're taking care of that maitre d'. Now, how are they taking care of the maitre d'? Be creative. It's either money, or perhaps it's just being kind, remembering their names. It could be as simple as bringing them their grandmother's favorite box of cookies. Just think outside the box and cultivate those relationships. The third and most important is that the uber wealthy only use credit cards. That's right. Never, ever will you see someone with a debit card in hand. Debit card is the same thing as an insult. Using a debit card is of no value to the uber wealthy. Why? Because the debit card just directly takes money out of your account and doesn't give you anything in return. Everybody who has cash, who preserves cash, who multiplies cash, which is what you should be doing, makes sure and uses their credit card. Now, they use the credit card, they pay off the entire balance before the due date so that they don't incur any interest. But what are they getting in return? They are getting points. They're getting either mileage points, they're getting money back, they are getting double points, triple points. They are using the system. Use the system to your advantage.
Here's a simple sign that somebody has money, that they're rich, or at least wealthier than you think they are. And it's something that I was reading about in an article about a yacht convention, where the salespeople were trained to approach customers who were wearing really basic clothing. Like, they didn't go for the people wearing the fancy suits and the Rolex watches. Instead, they knew that the truly high net worth individuals were those people who showed up in t-shirts and slacks. And that's a simple sign, often, that somebody is wealthy, that they dress really ordinarily. They don't drive a fancy car. They don't do anything that draws attention to themselves. It's like the famous aphorism that money talks and wealth whispers. And so a sign that somebody is rich is that they dress as if they were poor, that they keep it simple, that they don't draw attention to themselves. And that's often the sign that they have true net worth. And in a sense, of course, this is also because if you want to be wealthy, you have to not give in to status objects, things that you think signify wealth instead of becoming wealthy. That's a simple sign that somebody's rich.
There's 7 routines that will make you rich. Seriously, every single person that I meet has these routines down packed. And it's time to fight the thought that you have to wait until January 1st of next year to implement these small changes into your life that will make the biggest impact. I definitely fall victim to this. And number 1 on the list is what I've been implementing for the last week. Number 7, a cleaning routine. There's a bunch of studies that have come out that says that your environment is an accurate representation of what's going on inside. So if your environment outside of you is very organized, structured, clean, so what's going on in here is representative of that. Number 6, a money routine. Number 5, a workout routine. Number 4, what I like to call a get stuff done routine. This could be like when you work from home or go into the office. Do you turn on music? Do you only have one other monitor and you need your little drinky drink? My get stuff done routine has definitely been helping me with number 1 on this list. Number 2, a night routine. We all know that's important. And number 1, a morning routine. I have realized that I'm a morning person, so I've been trying to go to bed at 8:30 or 9 and get up at 4:30 to 5. Having this morning routine has drastically improved my life for the last week. And right here, right now, when the sun is coming down a lot sooner, has been the best time for me to personally implement it. You don't have to wait until the end of the year to put structures in place that will improve your life. For the next few weeks, I'm really focused on my morning routine. And after I've solidified that, I'm just gonna pick another one and take it into the new year. Now make sure to follow if you wanna be rich, both in your wallet and your mind.